Tucker is absent this evening, so we're gonna see Doug. Kate is gonna be late, but I don't see Stacy here yet, so we're gonna hold off on that time being, so. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the December 15th, 2025 regular meeting. Does anyone have any comments on the minutes?
I have a comment. I thought they were done really well, very
Right.
detailed, so I thank you so much for that. I didn't have any other comment beside that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I did have one comment, one minor correction on line 12. You should delete vice before chairman.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Did I refer to you as vice chairman?
It's-
I'm so
I've
sorry.
been called vice chairman for a while, but
Yeah, I'm sorry.
it's okay. Other than that, they look fine, so could I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. I'll second.
Okay, so motion to approve the minutes is amended. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's 5-0. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is preliminary development plan review of ZC 26-01. George?
Yeah, so I just have a couple comments and then the applicant is here. So tonight's kind of two different kinds of preliminary development reviews. The first one, 2601, 520 through 548 Hot Meadow, which is a zone change and master plan application on behalf of Simsbury Square to rezone the property, which is two zoning districts, B1 and B2, to the planned area development district. And of course, we know Simsbury Square, tons of businesses there, it's predominantly built out. It really is a genuine mixed use center, it's got commercial uses, perhaps not that many people know, it's got upwards of 20 apartments there as well, so it really is a mixed use place. So as Terry's gonna explain, the application really seeks to combine, I think there are 10 parcels, maybe there's 12 or 11 or 10. Into a common flexible zone, which the pad development, the pad district is, it's really our one kind of flexible zone to establish common setbacks and eliminate certain non-conforming features, get kind of a good use list because there is a difference between B1 and B2, but also add, as part of the master plan, a three-story, 35-minute apartment structure to the site. Terry's got slides too, but I just want to remind everybody what Simsbury Square looks like. Just to the southern end, of course, is the Big Sky, and you've got UPS and Meadow Cuisine and tennis place and a number of others there. But the area of the circle would be the area of introduction for the new residential units. And then just finally, you're not expected to read that, but I wanted to show that slide to show that the pad process is a little more complex than a standard rezoning application. It essentially breaks a project into two, so all of our land use bodies, Planning Commission, DRB, Zoning Commission, really gets to review the application twice. You're gonna see it preliminarily, but it's unlike the Chase application, which is kind of a voluntary preliminary review. This preliminary development plan was required. It's a required element of the pad district. So you're gonna get to review it, you're gonna provide comments, or you're not gonna provide comments. The applicant is gonna take your comments and DRB's comments and then put that together and file a formal pad zone change application, in the next month or two. So now is the preliminary part. And I'll defer to
One quick question, has this been before the DRB?
it hasn't, this evening it went to the DRB. Now, just so you know, staff tends to try to expedite this just a little bit. The formal process is it comes to you first and then you refer it to those bodies. Well, we tend to schedule those bodies before we even get to you. So
Right.
we are supposed to return to you before they file the final with kind of a list and an explanation of what everybody said about that, and we'll schedule that in the future.
Okay, thank you, George.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Get out of
So, good evening, Terry Ann Hahn, Principal LAD APC, we're the site planners for the project. This is we have been in front of your commission before with specifically for the residential building, before we even got anywhere else. So that residential building is part of this application, but we realized that in order to get that residential building, it wasn't allowed in either the B1 or the B2 zone. And more importantly, we didn't want to modify the B1 or the B2 zone to allow that to occur, okay? And we have this sort of unique setup of what's already a mixed land use project, commercial, residential, all different kinds of uses. I don't know if you guys got a chance to read the narrative that I gave you so you could see kind of what was happening and also what we're proposing. But we essentially want to create the PAD to reflect what's out there, past and present uses and future, and allow for a little bit more growth to happen there. Because right now it's kind of stuck, okay? And we have various different uses, but they don't, some of them work and some of them don't. And as we all know, the zoning changes all the time. So for example, in the past, there was a daycare center there, but now daycare is not allowed in either the B1 or the B2 zone. So we could put a daycare there under previous uses, but technically it's not, you know, things that would suit here are not currently in those zones. So we're creating a zone that would enable us to sort of, based on what we know about how this rents, the size of the spaces, because none of the spaces here are huge. This is not, other than the recreation, there's not 10,000 square foot retail spaces. These are all relatively small. And the residential portions that are here are all relatively also small. One studio, a couple of twos, but not substantial, not big. It fills a niche. It is actually the sort of prototype of what a PAD and a mixed land use project is supposed to be. But that puts us in an odd position because now with the B1 and the B2 zone, the question is, how do we go forward? How do we make this work? So we came up with the idea of coming in for the PAD to codify everything and to allow that to, if you shift to the next one, allow that building that we had previously presented to you, the 35 unit residential building, to go behind the area. There's the main, all the small buildings along Hot Meadow Street, and and then the much bigger buildings towards the back. This would be kind of that middle zone that's substantially lower than Hot Meadow Street. It's more than 20 foot lower change of grade. And it would enable us to sort of do that additional residential building back there. The PAD requires that we put together what's known as a master plan. So this project, as we know, has evolved over time. Buildings got moved, things got put there. So our master plan, if we go to the next slide, please, includes, for example, the identification of sort of more common light fixtures. There's light poles out there, but there's lots of different kinds of fixtures. So we want to get some LED, dark sky compliant, the new regulation compliant fixtures out there, so that it actually works a little bit better. We're designating a center green space, which has been used for like the farmers markets, gets used for like the dog obedience classes, some kids stuff, and just make sure that stays there, because that's kind of a center core. It doesn't become something else at some other time. And to provide some sidewalk access from one side to the next out in the back. The site plan associated with the building is pretty much a fairly straightforward application. Can we go to the building?
Thank you.
Elevations. As you saw before, and this is not the fancy color ones, we just have the black and white ones here today. It was 3 stories facing Hot Meadow Street, and then it dropped down to a 4th story. These are the same ones that you guys saw before. And that's the side facing Hot Meadow Street. So approximately, if you look at the 20-foot change of grade, only the top floor and the roof would be behind the buildings that are like the UPS, okay? Everything else is lower than that.
And what's the exterior siding?
At this point, it'll probably be the textured vinyl. We're dealing with some colors. DRB had some ideas that they'd like to see, and we'll see what we can do with respect to that. And if you go to the next one, it then drops down grade, and it's 4 stories looking to the back of the property. So that you wouldn't, unless you were in that back parking lot, you wouldn't necessarily see that elevation. In the same way that the 540, which is the old Taylor rental building, has 2 stories facing Hot Meadow Street and 3 stories facing out back. So it also steps down with the grade. And that works out very nicely, and I can tell you that we've done some test pits out there. We'll be doing underground detention. Soils are beautiful. So we'll be prepared to have the full, I don't think we have anything to worry about. We will need to go for wetland application because we have to modify the outlet structure to meet the outlet area. Discharge for stormwater because we already have some stormwater out there. But we will need to go for wetlands also for part of the site plan application. So we're aware of all of that. But that's kind of where we're at. And I think from a preliminary perspective, the idea is just to get whatever comments that you might have, and then we'll be back with the formal application.
So I do have a couple of questions. I mean, there's no plan to demolish any of the buildings currently on this site?
No.
Okay. What can you tell us about potential impact on traffic? That's a very busy area. I go to the Big Sky, as
Sure.
Jackie does regularly, and then in the morning, can get pretty busy, and it's not a very wide part of Route 10, so what do you plan?
At this point, it is an existing facility.
Mhm.
And all we're doing is adding the additional apartments, which don't have a significant impact, with respect to peak flow. But that's the idea on the one of the things that always happens with traffic is if you have a problem with traffic, the traffic guys will always say, well, you need another intersection. We have 5 driveways. There's always another way to get around this site. So that's
There's a lot of
generally,
curb cuts.
yeah, there's a lot of curb cuts and we don't intend to get rid of any of them. So that's,
I go out of there multiple times a day myself, pick a different one.
So
I'm serious. That's the best thing you can do is don't go to the one where everybody else is. Go to a different driveway.
Okay, so I
If
mean,
I- if I could be just a little tip-
just to follow up on that, sorry, George. You're gonna do a formal study of the site, or is this just gonna tell us what you think?
at this point, we were hoping to not do a formal study for traffic, since at this point that's all existing. The only square footage that we're adding is the residential buildings, which are a relatively small increase. But like I said, we were hoping to avoid doing that.
Get your answer, thanks.
So a question about parking, so
Yep.
the Big Sky uses the parking to the left of it.
Correct. Yep.
Who owns that park?
The
other
there-
property owner?
correct. It is an entirely shared parking community.
That's what I was wondering.
Everything overlaps. There are no dedicated parking spaces. And other than there might be a few signs that get put up, but it is the ultimate mixed land use shared parking experience, and that has worked out for
So it's
dozens of years.
already a P&D
It's-
concept.
Right, it's already exactly.
Alright, so now the number of parking spaces you're gonna need for the apartment building?
Right, so what we're showing is 2 parking spaces per unit. It's way more than anybody needs, but that's what your regulations say,
And how many units again?
35.
And are they mix of 1, 2?
It's mostly ones with an occasional 2.
Okay.
It'll depend on the building configuration. Yeah, but we're not going 2s or 3s.
But that parking will be owned by that building.
Again,
That
it's
lot,
shared
or will
parking.
it be flexible?
Technically, the building is built across 4 lots. And the parking is built across 4 lots. We're not proposing, because we cannot, because they're all different ownerships, we're not merging the lots. It is the ultimate shared parking experience.
Okay, so you have how many different owners? Cause I
There are
was
10.
trying to, well, there are 10 buildings.
No, there are 10
10
owners.
owners and more buildings.
Correct.
Cause you own how many?
Correct.
We have 4 entities.
4 of them, so building 1, 2, 3,
It's-
4,
yeah.
5, whatever it was.
If you go back to the
On the
other,
map, yeah, I studied it and I forgot to bring it with me,
Big Sky owns their building.
but not much parking.
Gymnastics owns their building.
but not the land.
And then the
well,
tennis,
gymnastics and Big
Big
Sky
Sky.
own their building and their land.
And their parcel, yep.
Tennis owns their building but not their land. Our four entities own the rest of the land,
Does
everything else.
tennis lease a building on the land?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, so anyway, I think the PAD makes a lot of sense. It's already partially PAD to begin with, and I remember, when you're talking about Taylor Rental, is that the building that burned down?
Yes.
I was in town.
Yes.
I remember when you built the new building, and
Yep.
I've been in Big Sky, I took my kids to gymnastics, I've been in the tennis house, I've been to UPS and all the other. Not every single space in the complex, but I know it pretty well,
To me, this has become exactly what you guys keep saying you want.
yes.
It's the mixed use, there's everything in the world in there, from the 30,000 square foot tennis facility to the one room, 100 square foot office for the psychotherapist, and everything I'm serious, and everything else in between.
Yes. And so you're keeping the buildings as is, adding an apartment building, still shared parking. But are there any plans, does PAD allow you to then expand the size of
So
some of the smaller buildings?
So within the PAD, really the limiting factor is the impervious surface coverage.
Okay.
That's a limiting, and we have always treated that as the whole site. So the PAD allows up to a 70% impervious surface, provided that you deal with your drainage.
And
okay.
what will it be when you're building?
We're at 64.
So you're just under.
Yeah, so it's, you know, we're talking about little incremental
Yes.
additions in the future.
Shannon?
Thank you. Thank you. I think I like this. I just have a couple questions. I wanna go back to traffic for a minute. Because while there are 5 different entrances to get in there, I think that actually is part of the problem, because people are sort of stopping and, you know, there's a lot of confusion about what's the right way to get in there and what's another right way to get in there. So I would like to see a little bit more on the traffic piece. The other question I have is around pedestrian considerations. Because even I drove back there the other day to kind of check out the space, and there's confusion in the roadways, and there are just kind of people walking around with residential units there will only be more people walking around, hopefully. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about your last line here says that sidewalk, a comprehensive pedestrian network should be considered. So I'm kind of wondering what
Well,
that looks like.
I mean, at this point, what we're showing on the master plan is the addition of a sidewalk from one
Right.
side to another through the
Right.
green.
North,
We've
south?
looked at the possibility of adding additional sidewalks, but it's very steep from Hot Meadow Street down to the point where I don't think I can actually make it handicap accessible. So that becomes an issue, not without taking buildings down or doing a substantial amount of increased grading and taking trees down, things that we really don't wanna do, cause right now it's working. I understand the idea that people, you know, may walk around a little bit more. We are providing sidewalks that get us through the parking lot and to the bike path, so that is maintained. And then we're providing the sidewalk across the green. Additional connections between the buildings become problematic. There was already a sidewalk set up on the Hot Meadow side for where the restaurant is, where Rhino Back is, there's already some addition of sidewalks there. But really, I think it's one of those things where I've taken it as far as I can get it physically. And it's not a start from scratch project, so trying to
Sure.
retrofit some stuff is a little bit more complicated than I would have liked.
When you say sidewalks for where Rhino is, you mean in front of the building?
Yeah, there's.
Okay, yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not at Hot Meadow, 'cause
Correct.
that's across the street.
No, there's no sidewalks on Hot Meadow.
Yeah,
At the
for connectivity, just
Yeah.
for what we're talking about,
Right.
for planning purposes.
So you're talking.
But I didn't mean to cut you off, I'm so
No,
sorry.
you didn't. The sidewalks you're referring to are like in front of Meadow or
Yeah, there's in
That's
front of
what
Simsbury,
she's-
there's in front of
Mhm.
Weinerback, there's
And in front of
We still miss-
Rhino's building, but
Yeah,
not like,
right.
I
they're
think you were talking
here, they're
connectivity.
here, they go
Right,
in the
'cause they're
back that
disjointed.
way.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
correct, yeah.
They are disjointed and that was my
It's kind of-
Yeah, but unfortunately,
It is.
it's, like I said, it's a retrofit, so I can
Oh, yeah,
only take
yeah.
it so
No,
far,
no, I
yeah.
just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify.
yeah. Okay, thank you for that.
Can I ask?
Sure.
So have you considered commercial for the first floor, the way that the
Yes.
other building is where Rhino is? Well, you
No.
can shake your head, sir,
I
but I'm
know.
still gonna
Said
ask.
no.
But
There's
we,
no call
we
for
did,
it.
we did
Oh, no, there's a call
consider
for it, right?
We did consider it, but based on, what you can get for tenants, we know what we can get for rentals. It's just the way that the building works, it's because it steps down, it's a relatively small building, it's not a really big building, and
What's the
ultimately,
size? Sorry, what's the size of the building?
it's
Square footage?
What do you wanna rent? How long a lease?
No negotiations.
We can talk. What's the size? Square
I'm
footage?
sorry, I just don't have it off the top of my head. It's on a different page, but
Okay.
that's
Cause that's all we know is 35 units. I don't know
right.
what's
It's
the
a
square
10
footage.
10 per. Okay, if I had to, I think it's 175 feet by 50 feet. It's not a big building. This is on the site plan. Yeah.
I'm sorry, did
Are you
you say
looking
you're
for
gonna get a
space?
commercial space?
No, I said, are you looking for space?
I think commercial on the first floor would be ideal.
There's no call for it.
There is a call for it.
And
Yes.
why is all this space empty in town?
Do you have any
The first floor of the other building, is it?
What's that?
The first floor of the other building
Yeah, yeah.
all building
No.
footprint.
is commercial.
It was
And then
3.5.
have rentals above.
Yeah, it's like 3,500 square feet.
Not a call for
We
it.
have a,
Is there a
Answer
space
Don't
that
get
there?
any calls for that. I get calls daily for apartments.
Yeah.
Daily.
It's 100. I think
Well,
it's
there's apartments
175 feet
available.
by.
They want them less
75
expensive.
They don't wanna spend $3,000.
Absolutely.
They don't want granite. They
Sorry,
don't want,
It's about
the Taj
175
Mahal.
feet by 75 feet. So it's
Okay.
30-foot
I didn't
depth units.
catch that. Could you repeat that, please?
175 feet by 75 feet plus or minus.
So ask about
25,000 square feet, it was gonna be less than that,
25,000.
square feet total, give or take, maybe.
To what Shannon was asking about and Tony too about the traffic study. I would like that. I'm sure there's a cost in that, but this is a congested site. And the coming and going, and now if we're talking a potential of 70 vehicles, I understand everybody might not be coming and going in the same time, same day, because people do work from home, but then now you're adding density as far as Amazon packages, you're adding more deliveries. I mean, this is going to be more traffic than just even Big Sky.
Just as a reminder to process, the traffic study as part of the pad is technically a required element of submission, so this body would have to waive that requirement.
Oh, okay,
Okay, so
cause that came up, that's why we were asking.
couple of you were before the planning commission on January 16th, and there were a number of recommendations, so you don't need to respond to all of them now, but just, I mean, are you working on these?
I haven't seen that memo, so once I have it, but what I took from that, one of the big ones, which also came from design review, is that I wanna show a view of what you see from Hot Meadow Street, so you have the buildings in
Alright.
front, so that everybody knows how tall it is. Me telling you you're only gonna see this much, nobody's buying, so I will show you what it is, so we will take care of that.
Okay.
That was kind of one of the big ones, I don't,
Yeah, I mean, there's we do follow their recommendations,
Sure.
so I would encourage you to address all of them.
no, nope, not that one.
I wrote it on Monday.
So as far as ownership of different parcels, the lot lines will stay the same for
Correct.
legal purposes.
For legal
who
purposes, mortgages, you know,
boundaries
all that
and-
good kind of stuff, yeah.
It'll just
But
stay
it
the same.
basically is what we call a zero lot line, there's only a perimeter setbacks, because that's kind of what happens now, so. You don't have setbacks between parcels in a
Within the
scenario.
no.
Right.
Okay, but I mean, the legal ownership stays the
Yep,
same, you're not
correct.
reconfiguring boundary lines.
No, that would require lot line adjustments and
Yes.
Any other questions, Jackie?
Yeah. To what you were saying about the elevation, can you give us an elevation with the 3 stories, including the roof line, so that it's
Yeah, of
not,
course.
cause the roof line looks like that's
Okay.
another 4th
You know,
story,
it's
so to bring that
of
down a
course.
little bit.
Show you what it really looks like. Yeah, understood. No, why would I think, does that happen? People don't put the roof on?
No, but the way that, to
But
say
I-
that that's 3 stories, that's 4.
It's
That's
4 on the
the-
backside.
But on the front,
Yeah, you still
it's
have the
3
roof.
plus the roof,
Yeah.
can you bring it down?
Yeah, I will ask the architect on that, but I'd like to see, you know, I wanna show the image first, and then if nobody even sees it, then, you know, that's, cause right now that is a typical pitch. You know, nothing more complicated than that, so, yeah, understood. Do
Any other questions?
you guys have anything else?
I think we're all set for now. Just as, you know, I think the traffic study is, we indicated that's important, so it's something we're gonna require.
Okay.
Okay, other than that, thanks for your time. and-
Thank you, I appreciate your
Look forward to
comments,
your next-
thank you, look forward to
Thank you.
formal,
I just said it. I just said the plan.
thank you.
So before- Ready, George, for the next?
Sure.
Okay, so we're gonna seat Stacy for Kate.
Thank you. Hi, sorry I'm late.
That's okay. So next.
Slacker.
So we have another preliminary the application review.
So I don't, Ms. Porter and her applicant team are here. So this is 730 Hot Meadow Street. This is just as a straight good old fashioned preliminary review. They came in, they were at DRB a couple weeks ago and are looking for additional comments from you. This is 730. This is a proposal for a JP Morgan Chase bank site, bank, and it's on the side of the structure that burned I guess last winter. So I just have an aerial for you and then I can bring up your stuff.
Okay, good evening, commission members. My name is Jennifer Porter. I'm land use counsel for the applicant, JP Morgan Chase Bank. You heard the site is located at 730 Hot Meadow Street. The reason we are here this evening seeking preliminary feedback and review from the commission is, as was indicated, we appeared in front of the DRB for informal feedback a few weeks ago. At that meeting, they suggested a number of changes to the architectural design of the building, which we are in the process of undertaking. We have made significant changes and are planning on going back to that board. However, some of the comments that were generated, we wanted additional feedback from this board being the final decision maker in terms of our site plan application because it kind of tied directly to how we have laid out the building on the site, particularly with respect to the location of the drive-through facility. And so we felt it was very important to kind of show you our layout, have our engineer walk you through the site, why it's positioned the way it is, which in this case, it's because it's particularly tied to attempt to meet as great as possible our zoning district regulations. So to comply with as much bulk and setback criteria as possible. As you can see, the site's situated on the corner, so we're at the corner of Hot Meadow and Jim Gallagher Way. Both frontages have a 40-foot parking setback. So obviously, you know, the design criteria feeds to the fact that your building needs to be positioned toward the street because you want the parking behind it. But then you add on top of that the setbacks, and so you'll hear more from our engineer, create a limited box in which we can situate our building. And so that really fed overall into the design. We also got feedback from DOT in connection with kind of how we configured the curb cuts. So I'll have our engineer, Matt Checka from Stonefield Engineering, kind of walk you through it. But because some of the comments from DRB related to, like I said, the drive-through related to kind of the scale of the building, they were looking actually for something bigger and more representative kind of the buildings around it, where it's situated. We didn't necessarily want to do anything without, you know, talking to this board about the variance implications of that and recognizing, you know, and seeing whether or not this commission felt it was appropriate that we seek that variance relief, or if it's better to move forward with a design that's more conforming kind of to the zoning criteria. So we can answer any questions after you see it, but I just wanted to introduce it and kind of give you a little bit of background. So I'm gonna turn it over to Matt.
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
The elevations we saw, are those gonna be changed?
Totally.
Right,
Yeah,
that's-
that one,
Okay, fine.
yeah, it doesn't.
Because design review made some comments and
They did. They gave us actually great feedback, and we went back. The building, I mean, literally 2 weeks later looks nothing like it did 2 weeks ago, and so it's
You'll be surprised.
yeah, but
Pleasantly
it's
surprised.
in internal kind of review and approval process by
That's
Chase
fine.
So we
So you're
can't
not ready.
debut the new building yet, but
Close.
we're getting there. We're getting close, and we think that the final product will be something hopefully that
Okay.
everyone will enjoy. But
but
yeah,
it's a
what
one-story building.
yes.
Yes.
They wanted to kind of create the look and feel of
It's
having
tall.
additional space.
Full building.
Yeah.
What's behind it?
Correct.
Yeah, and we're happy to hear your feedback as well in that respect.
Sure, but
We did bring our architect for that very purpose, just with the understanding that it is changing based on DRB's input so far.
I'll let you focus on the site.
No, terrific, thank you so much. All right,
Thanks,
Mr.
Jen.
Checa?
Yeah, so just introduce myself, my name's Matthew Check, I work for Stillfield Engineering and Design. We're the civil engineers working for Chase for this project. Under existing conditions, you don't have to switch it, but I think we all know where this is, right? Like Jen mentioned and staff here, Jim Gallagher and Hot Meadow. There's existing 2 curb cuts, no curb cuts on Hot Meadow. 2 curb cuts existing on Jim Gallagher. Recently, the building was burnt down and demolished. So as you see it today, it's just like a empty lot, I'll call it. As part of our proposal, however, we are going to be proposing a 3400 Chase Bank and removing one of the curb cuts closest to the intersection along Jim Gallagher, and generally keeping the existing the second curb cut, I'll call it, right, further down the street, right? Yeah, thank you. And we're also proposing.
Well, that's where it is now.
Exactly, more or less. With that, we're obviously increasing or redoing a little bit of the sidewalk to make it work. But yes, it's generally in the same location. Like Jen alluded to, we also have a secondary curb cut along Hot Meadow, DOT jurisdiction. So we have started preliminary just feedback from that department, and they essentially wanted us to prepare a full site plan package for their review. They had a few comments about making the curb. Originally, we had the curb cut as 2 lanes to allow for egress north and south, but they wanted us to compress it into just 1 lane. We think that's a little bit safer and agree with that comment. They had no objection to the circulation and movements. So once we finalize the municipality will then submit our full application to the DOT for their blessing and approval. With the bank, we are proposing 20 parking stalls, as you can see in the rear of the property, a small trash enclosure in the back as well. And like Jen mentioned, the building's situated to conform with the setback requirements as stated in the Simsbury Center Zone 1 district. We call it a building envelope, right, where the building can be situated. As per the zoning requirements, the building envelope, right, forces us to put the building in the front yards. Since we're on a corner lot, we have 2 front yards, so that the building's situated at the corner of the corner lot. With that, we have the parking in the rear, and then the circulation, as you see, with the drive-through. To the
So quick question.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be access from Hot Meadow?
No, so
It's gonna be from Gallagher?
it's full movement is on Jim Gallagher. Once you go through the ATM and bypass,
Right.
that's exit only.
Yeah, so
So-
exit here.
Right.
Exit.
No ingress into Hot Meadow.
Okay.
All ingress will happen on Jim Gallagher.
Thanks.
And you have the 1 handicap required spot
Correct, yeah.
there. And where are the bicycles supposed to be parked?
Excuse me?
There was a note about bicycles.
Yeah, we have it just in the main in the front by the front entrance. It's just a Chase just requirement and standard. We like to have just a couple of bike racks for users that choose to bike to the facility. with that, we are progressing with our full site plans based on feedback from all of these boards. But in preparing our drawings, we are seeking a few variances which we wanna discuss. The first one is mostly about the ATM itself. So ATM at the northern part of the building, obviously, and then the circulation happens one way out, right? I believe there's a restriction basically stating that drive-throughs cannot be in interior lots, which we are not meeting. Is that not true?
Say it again,
I
drive-through,
I can read the
Can't
code,
be
I
what?
can read the code requirement if that's,
I don't think that's true, but go ahead. I don't think so.
alright, well,
No.
okay, then if that's not a problem, then I'm not gonna say anything more about it.
So I think that there's, I think the center zone restricts detached accessory drive-throughs.
Got it.
But since this is attached to the building, that
Doesn't fall in
that
that
I don't think
category.
that applies.
Okay. Well, that's good to know,
It's
cause
okay.
that's one of the things that we just wanted to talk about.
But can I, do you mind if I ask a question? So when you keep saying ATM, so this is an ATM drive-through, it's not a manned drive-through, it's
Automated
Or
only,
automated only,
there's
understood,
no,
yeah.
there's no person there.
Yeah.
And the transaction's fairly quick.
is there a little roof over it if it's raining?
We're working on the architecturals, but yes, there is a little overhang, yeah.
But so I see it, there's like, you have two lanes for exiting. One can zip through to the stop at the ATM, the other can just flow out and
Correct.
go. Is there gonna be, it looks like it narrows again. Do you have room for just one car at a time at the exit
We have room
or
for
two?
two, depends where you kinda
So
figure,
it
right?
almost looks like it's narrowing,
Yeah.
like it's
So
a
you can have-
little tight for two.
You can have one car stacking to go left and right, and you can have many cars stacking behind that.
Yes.
Right, dependent on if you're just leaving and not using the ATM or using the ATM itself.
Right, and I don't know if you heard, but we had mentioned that we had actually submitted the original application and it was that particular exit was actually designed to allow for two cars. But DOT recommended that it be shortened, so that's why it's narrowed
So
at the end
only
to only
one
one
car
car.
stands
Yes,
there.
that
Well-
was per DOT's comments that we
Because I'm just thinking of potential for cars bumping into each other, fighting about I'm gonna go left versus right.
This also came up at DRB, so this is something we'd love to hear the commission's thoughts on it. Because, like I said, we originally designed it as two, but DOT came back and said, no, we prefer that you narrow it.
And regarding traffic there, this use is very low compared to other drive-through components, right? This isn't a coffee or a fast food or anything like that. At most, we see 3 or 4 cars and those transactions are 2 to 3 minutes.
There's no teller.
It's just an ATM, as if you were walking up to an
Just a
ATM.
machine.
No, just a machine. There's no person doing a
So
transaction
then
with you.
why couldn't, to DRB's point, so why couldn't you have the entrance and Jim Gallagher where you do, and then have the traffic go around the building and come back out where the current,
Because then we couldn't have the building situated that
No.
way.
That's right.
The building wouldn't meet your setback requirements because the building had to be set further back.
but you're asking for variances anyway, so what's the
True,
difference?
true,
Yeah.
that's, again, it's kind of
Okay.
part of the overall design, which
Yeah.
is why we're here. To the extent that you believe it would be better to recirculate traffic back, obviously the building shifts back and it clearly changes the layout of the site as it's currently proposed, because then we're really into the setbacks. This is focused on meeting, the traditional setbacks as well as the parking setbacks to the maximum extent possible to have all the parking in the rear. Even though we have the two fronts and obviously we have on the one side, a shortage. But to the extent that there's a concern,
Traffic for us and a curb cut for Hot Meadow.
But also just to tie into all this as well, the DOT doesn't really prefer a curb cut that close to the intersection as existing condition. So in a way, we're improving it because we're removing that one curb cut close to the intersection, which just causes an unsafety turning movements. And if we were to keep that curb cut, it's just the DOT may require us to remove it as
The
part
other
of the
one that was
application.
on Jim Gallagher,
Right.
right, the one closest to
So
the
in
intersection.
hindsight, we are improving the layout,
Yes.
you know, with this configuration.
But I think we might wanna see the traffic stay.
So let me ask you, Jack, this is for you, Jack. What do you think is the benefit of having the traffic circulate as opposed to go out?
Having another curb cut on Hot Meadow.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have Jim Gallagher, so you do have people potentially turning out of there. You've got people turning out of, let's say, you know, Fitzgerald's CVS. So now you've got people turning out, and now you've got Chase, and then right after that is Bank of America.
Right.
And that Bank of America is also a driveway people use sometimes to access.
Yeah, in only, I think, though. Bank of America's in.
Thanks for the clarification.
But those,
I think just if I may respond.
Of course, absolutely.
I don't wanna talk out of turn, but you know, if we were to show a loop like this, right, going back into the curb cut over here, it just again further limits the buildability of the site because we're adding a lot more circulation and impervious surfaces and just it makes our buildable area that much lessened. So it limits the site further from adding just another circulation around the building, which we see just a little unnecessary regardless of the traffic. The traffic, we're gonna prepare a traffic analysis per DOT requirements, that's standard. And you'll see that based on the prior use to this, it's much lower, significantly lower. The peak hour for this is like 40 cars, which is nothing. You know, and with the 7 or 8 businesses that were here prior, it's way more percentage points less in compared to Chase. You know, I think like we will share those documentations with with the municipality, not just this commission, but others obviously, just to show that like this traffic will be significantly lessened. And furthermore, and I'm sorry, I know you have a thought, you know, the DOT requires that.
well, I mean, you can see if you aren't doing the ATM, you pull in, park, they turn around and go right back out on Gallagher. It's in
Right,
and
yeah.
out on Gallagher, so.
You're making an assumption, but again, there's not a need to have another curb cut on Hot Meadow. That's the whole
If you're
thing.
doing the ATM, it is, unless you reconfigure the whole building to where the ATM is. Or you can't do the ATM from your car, you have to walk out of the car to use it.
I see merit for both. I just think it's just a little unusual to have like a loop of almost like a circle around the building for asphalt. I think it would just look a little too much. Where we're trying to preserve the trees in the front, where we're trying to add a little landscaping and a sidewalk connection to the main entrance. I mean, obviously you don't see this building that we're proposing, but like it's gonna fit the character of the neighborhood. And just having an entrance or like a driveway in front of this nice, grand, beautiful new bank will just look a little out of place, in my opinion.
When you say circle around the building, can you, what
Yeah,
are
I
you
mean,
saying?
if you want, can I
If
just
you
use the
go,
clicker?
so if you go back to
Yeah.
the original, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
You know,
So like,
Yeah, I mean,
So I
like,
think what-
as existing, sorry.
yeah, you go.
As existing, right, you have the entrance here, and you looped around. Well, there wasn't a loop here, but you parked in the front and parked in the back with the
Right.
building in the green space in the middle. If you go back to the site plan though, you know, I think what we're discussing is adding a loop like this to go in front of the building, connecting back into the curb cut that we're proposing. So like keeping the building where it is, adding a loop around here to eliminate this curb cut, and adding just another drive aisle here. Either connecting into the existing curb cut, which in our personal opinion, professional opinion, the DOT will not allow because it's too close to intersection, and then adding another connection here and connecting back onto Jim Gallagher. We just see a lot of building constraints, site constraints, and you know, further limiting the design of the actual site.
so you're saying you see constraints in creating that.
Correct,
Okay,
yeah,
I understand now.
yeah, and look, like we looked at this and I'm sorry.
Let me just say one thing, that, you know, staff will look at the access and make comments on that when the formal application is, we don't have a particular opinion on it. And it makes it complicated, but the other thing I was gonna say is that probably the most important thing in the center zone is the placement of the building. I mean, in the true center zone. Now, the previous structure there was a little bit non-conforming because it had parking in front and it was, but the expectation in the center zone is that the building is the primary and there's no parking in front of it. So, I mean, that complicates how to do the site and deal with the drive-through, but that's probably the most important component of siting in the center zone is the location of the building, close to the street, you know, cozying to the street with sidewalk and that
Is
kind of stuff.
parking in front of the building already a variance? Is that what you're saying?
So it's not, so let's be careful using the word variance. So this is in the center zone. So there aren't any variances necessarily. The site is complicated because you had a previously the structure on the site was partially non-conforming in terms of some setbacks, parking up front. I mean, it was a structure that was built some time ago. So yeah, so there were some non-conformities associated. So a new building can go on that site and actually can reestablish some of those non-conformities if we wanted them to. But where the application doesn't meet the strict criteria of center zone, and I keep saying it's complicated because I want to remind everybody that we haven't cited a building in center zone since 2010. We haven't had an application in center zone. Well, yeah, we had our, you know, we have luminary, but that's on a green field. I mean, we didn't have the constraints of the built environment of Hot Meadow Street. So the first time we're doing this, center code's never really been used. It's hard to use. But when an application doesn't meet those requirements, it's actually not a variance. It actually, all it does is it triggers a public hearing process. So the strict requirements of the center zone can essentially waived. We don't call them waived. We say it's an alternative approach that just you have a public hearing instead of a straight plan process. So we wouldn't be worried so much about kind of the talk of variances and stuff like that. You need to site the building where you want it sited. You need to have access where you want it. You have to have the right design. I would concentrate on those things before we get too much in the details on, we need a variance from this 5-foot setback or something like that. We haven't even seen the application yet where we made kind of full comments on that.
I have a question about the pass through by ATM. Do you think it's necessary to have 2 lanes as opposed to 1?
So
Yeah, I
either,
mean,
but yes.
yeah, I think just the optionality of having a bypass lane's like standard. It just provides a means of just escaping is what we'd call it in like the traffic
Right.
world. Just in case if you just wanna get out.
You get a
know,
call, you have to leave, you're in line at the ATM.
Right.
It's a way to just immediately exit the site.
optionality.
If there's a car that
Yeah.
breaks down for any reason, so you don't get stuck.
Like Duncan.
And in further causing congestion in areas where we don't want congestion.
Okay, so just to be clear, your preference is to not do a loop of traffic.
Say that once more.
Your preference is to not have a loop.
Our preference is the way that it's
Yeah.
laid out here,
Right.
which is to have that curb cut there.
And we looked at all these options, trust us, like, you know, we know that the code requirement is one where you know, staff has mentioned about like, you know, having the setbacks met is one of the, I guess, most important things, right? But originally we had the building setback and it just didn't work. You know, this works the best. The DOT is comfortable with it, and that's essentially why we're here today, to get, you know, this commission, you know, comments and, you know, have a further conversation about it.
So what is the setback from the Hop Meadow? Cause there's a good setback in the east side, which I assume will be green space.
So limit it.
I mean, I think it's a limit of 10 and 25 or around that, and we're just on the 25
So
You're at the cusp.
so don't, I mean, again, center zone is tough. Center zone has setbacks, but we really see the building as a build to line.
Right.
We don't want the building setback. We want the buildings built to 10 feet max. We don't want it further back.
Okay,
So I guess I
think
can,
of it less,
Yeah.
particularly on the front, the fronts is that it's a build to line. It's up, it's close to the street.
and just for further just a visual, I guess, it's hard to tell where the existing building was on this plan, right? We're moving the existing building up basically halfway.
Yeah,
further.
here, right?
Yeah, the
And
building
it's
was kind of,
here.
it was, yeah, exactly.
Maybe even less back.
A little bit
Really
further,
where the
yeah.
parking pad is, I
Right.
think, yeah.
So we are moving it a little bit further towards Hot Meadow based on what we are used to prior to the building being removed. Further, placing it in front of the, in the frontage, we'll call it.
And the sidewalks are along both streets.
Yeah, the sidewalks along both streets, we're making it a connection to Hot Meadow from the actual entrance to the building. And that's per ADA code and
It's a required
everything
element
that
of
required.
center zone.
And
That you connect to the front door.
right. And all that will be ADA compliant, obviously this is a bank and Chase takes their ADA and lighting and security standards seriously. And everything will be ADA compliant and per code for lighting based on their requirements and everything of that security nature.
So even the front door would be ADA accessible.
Correct, yeah, front door, back door by the ADA stalls, and then the actually connection to the right of way will be ADA itself. From there, we can't control it, but as much as we can do to make it ADA accessible, we will.
And green space, you asked the question, that's all green space.
So the front is green space and the back
And the
by the
side.
courtyard is a strip of green space.
Towards the right-hand side of the site where you see there where like that little
The
white
east
area
side.
is all green.
The parking setback?
Right here
Yeah, the 40
is all
foot.
green,
It's gonna be green space.
correct. And then there's a couple trees in the front.
Do they exist now?
They do exist
that
now,
you're keeping?
correct. I think they just need a little pruning, but we'll be doing that as part of the application as well.
So there are, what, 4 or whatever?
There's 4 and there's a 5th one towards the top left that you can kind of see right here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
it from live.
Yeah, and it actually works kind of nicely, like there is a little gap where we're just putting our egress only curb cut.
Did you say dark skies compliant?
Yeah, everything's downward lit, dark side compliant. We actually thank you to your team here to provide us the code requirements. And everything's downward lit. And it also meets the temperature requirement as well. That came up. If it's 3,000 Kelvin, typically we do 4. But we can find a way to make it compliant with the 3,000 Kelvin, so it's not so intense of a light.
Thank you.
And just to build off that as well, we are adding some lights underneath the canopy itself to light up the entrances. But literally 5 feet after that, it just goes to just normal lights, what we'll call it, light levels.
Any other questions? Anything else you wanna add or?
So again, trying to get rid of the curb cut for Hot Meadow, you could do a second curb cut at the rear where you just said the parking setback. So you could have cars come in there, cause you're saying DOT is not gonna want the curb cut up by the front of the building.
Here, down here somewhere.
And have people come in that way, do a U-E and then go back out. So now all your traffic is at the back of the building.
Then it's not near an ATM
They
drive
could put the ATM back there,
Chase
Right.
Chase
Allowed
doesn't
to
Chase
have
doesn't
it.
do remote ATMs,
okay?
because of security.
Few of our other banks in town do, so.
We've had them ripped off the pads, so so everything's in the building now, believe it or not.
It also just removes a little bit of parking as well,
It does.
which we would prefer. I understand your thought. I'm not trying to, don't feel like I'm trying to just, X what you're trying to say. I do thank you for understanding on both sides.
We're looking at other options, we're
Sure,
looking
yeah,
at
no,
solutions.
totally, yeah.
You know, and again, our design review, we
Right.
do lean on and,
I agree. I mean, I understand, I think it would eliminate some parking. We'd have to figure out what to do with the trash enclosure. I think one of the biggest things for us is the trash as well. It's like we have to figure out how to make those maneuvers safe. And those trucks, they're not, sedans. So, just factoring in all of that is one of the reasons why, the curb cut on Hot Meadow is important to us.
I'd
Yeah.
love to see a rendering without the curb cut on Hot Meadow.
With just
For
a
next
site
time,
plan?
For when you come back with
Yeah,
the other rendering and all the colors and
you wanna see
everything.
you wanna see like an option, you're saying? Okay.
Anything else? Anything else you wanna add, or you all set?
I think that's it, like any other feedback, we're just, here to answer any other questions.
I think you've answered all our questions for this evening, so we look forward to your next presentation. So thanks for coming in.
Great, thank you so much.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
So the renderings for the building itself, when will they be available?
They will be submitted I believe by the beginning of February with the intention of us coming to the mid-February DRPC.
So February.
That's the goal.
They're done by the architect, now Chase has to approve them,
And
you know, and then.
I'm sure when we submit them to staff at Mr. McGregor, I bet would be happy to also send a peek to this board as well, so
Alright, thank you.
I'd be happy to get the additional feedback.
Oh, we
I was actually.
Is it gonna blend in with the courtyard? Is that the idea?
I'm sorry?
Gonna blend in with the courtyard?
Perfectly. I thought they asked you to picture one of your buildings for Chase on it.
So,
Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
okay, so we're gonna move on to the next agenda item, which is other commission business. The first item is the reappointment of Andrew Tarpil to the Design Review Board. Andrew is currently serving. Jackie, is there anything you want to say about Mr. Tarpil?
I'm happy to make a motion
Okay.
to reappoint him to design review. He has great architectural experience.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Danny, second. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. So it's 6-0. Congratulations, Andrew, on your reappointment. Next is Planning Director report. George, what do you have for us this evening?
I don't know if I have much tonight. We've had a busy couple days here. As a reminder, next Thursday night at 6:30 PM at the library, we will be hosting the Community Temporary Sign Forum, Business Sign Forum. We have done I think a decent job of getting the word out. It's in lots of places, and just a reminder that it'd be great to see you.
6:30 at the library.
So what do you?
Homework to do?
No, this is just listening.
No, this is going to be a community conversation.
So what do you foresee our role as commissioners?
As observers.
Just observers, so
Take
we don't need
notes.
to lead any discussion?
No,
or
you don't,
any
I don't think so, the way,
presentations?
so this is what the plan is, we're gonna do introduction, a kind of a big picture explanation of how we regulate temporary signs in town and how we do it in center zone and how it's different in the rest of the town, and these are the challenges the staff has, and kind of just do a little bit of vocabulary work. This is a temporary sign, and this is what it means, and this is what a yard sign looks like, and this is what a banner looks like, and this is how people use them, and do that. And then, it's all dependent on the total number of people. So ideally, and if we get 20, 30, 40, we kind of do a little bit of a small group breakout and have people sit with each other. We're gonna have tables maybe. And then I'm gonna kind of present 4 questions to them to have their own conversation about the question, what are the challenges to businesses with temporary signs? Why do we regulate signs in the community? What are the reasons and stuff like that? And have them report back out. And I think it's too often that we not let, but we frame the discussion by having somebody stand in front of you at a podium and bang on the podium about what they don't like or what they do like, or blah, blah, blah. I just think this has an opportunity to say, Jackie, you're a business owner. Jackie, how do you use temporary signs? Well, we do it when we have a sale, or we do it when, we under new management, or we're trying to, we do it during these periods because it's important to us.
Yep.
And then, a citizen right next to you would be like, well, why do you have to have them out so long? Or why do they, why can't we do a better job of taking them in? So that is what I would hope happens.
Yep.
I mean, you can't guarantee stuff like that. But I just find that, you guys are in this land use business with me and Joe, and we're in it, and it's just too often we're talking at each other. So how do you find these times where you can, it's not about a specific application, it's not about
Right.
your sign
Which is
that's
perfect.
been up for too long, it's
Yeah.
just a little bit, so that's what I hope. We'll
That'd
see
be
what
great.
happens.
So are you giving an intro?
Yeah, staff's gonna do a full intro, explanation of the night, this is how we hope it works, We're also gonna have kind of note cards with the question on for folks who maybe don't want, or sometimes people don't wanna talk or even to each other. So we'll get some feedback on written feedback as well.
I totally agree with you, is what I wanted to say, but I've also spoken to a number of business owners and shared this information, and I would anticipate that we have a pretty positive
Yeah.
turnout.
Yeah, that'd be
People have
great.
lots of things to say.
Really, I mean, that really is, I mean, we have to, I say this, we have to find some common ground and agreement on how we deal with some of the challenges there. I mean, I hear from business owners who say, if I don't put my temporary sign out, my A-frame sign out, I don't get business. Well, how do you react to that? Because we haven't made them permanent, as a, in addition to your freestanding sign, and so we have to have that, we gotta figure out what's the best solution.
Conversation, which is, that's absolutely fine, saying I need that sign or I need a directional, on that day or on that weekend. Are you going to talk about enforcement though? Is that going to be part of the discussion?
I mean, no, not really, Jackie, no.
Because it's not that business that says I need it, it's the one that leaves it out.
So it's
for 30
not, I'm
days.
gonna talk a little bit about the challenges to enforcement under the rules that there are, business owners do leave them out longer, but I think part of that is we're gonna talk about there's real confusion in the language when I show you that language about when you can put your temporary sign out and it says you can have a temporary sign for 30 days.
Right.
30 days forever? 30, so as part of that is the challenge of the language, and so I would rather, almost like you're starting from scratch. How do you tailor a good temporary sign ordinance for the community? You know what sounds good? If I had 8 weeks a year and whatever number, I don't mean that number, it's the real number, but
Understand.
and then, you know what? If it's 8 weeks a year, we all understand it and we'll enforce it. And that, I mean, it's hard being the heavy with businesses. It is. It really is. I know it's part of our job. I get it. We know it. This is Joe's job. And he does it with a smile on his face, and he has the patience of Job, and he does a great job with it. But yeah, Jackie, enforcement is an important part of it. Please don't ever get the message of that. I don't think it's important.
Size limits.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, we should talk about that. We should talk about, again, the constitutionality of the challenges associated with our sign code. Probably is not constitutional.
Do you have any other updates as far as building development?
Just make a note on your 218 meeting is what we decided on to have the first introduction and kind of update from our
Consultant.
consultant. We're gonna do it on your regular business night. We're gonna move it up to 6 o'clock. They just need an hour. It's not gonna be they're gonna kind of report on what they're doing. They're gonna walk you through what they discovered in the line by line review and their 1,000 comments on our current zoning regulations. So they're gonna kind of walk you through what they see as those challenges and kind of where we're headed. That'll be at the library, that meeting.
So it's the Wednesday the 18th, not the 16th.
Yeah, Wednesday the 18th
6 p.m. That's it.
at 6.
At the library.
Yeah, the 16th is President's Day or whatever it is, yeah. So it's part of the original.
Is there anything we should review ahead of time?
No,
Read the whole regulations and everything?
No, I'll repost in your Dropbox the challenges to the temporary signs that I went through maybe a couple months ago with you. I'll repost that for you. But beyond that, no.
But for the consultants.
No, you don't need to do anything for the consultants. Oh, did I post their line by line comments?
No, I haven't seen.
Alright, so I need to start populating that Dropbox, and so I'll get that in there as well.
Alright.
Thank you.
Anything else, George?
Just probably the biggest application in town, the McLean application has been in the wetlands. We had a 4-hour public hearing last night. We were there till after 11. And the Conservation Commission heard all the testimony and closed the public hearing and moved it for review and potential action on February 3rd.
February 3rd, okay.
So that won't come until they vote on it, however
They vote on it and there's no appeal to it.
approve or deny. Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably.
So we're not in the mix for some time.
you know, barring, I don't know, I certainly don't have a sense of what they're gonna do,
Right.
But yes, a site plan application will be necessary and it will have to come to this body. Yes,
And how many units are they?
they're down to 40 units.
All detached or some?
They're all duplex units.
So at this point, you don't have a sense as to when it would be on our.
I don't. I mean, I do think that I think the Inland Wetlands Commission is gonna make a decision in February.
In February, and that's when
For
we
sure.
meet again?
So they meet February 3 and February 17. So
So we wouldn't be until after that, if
you won't,
if it came our
you
way.
won't. And again, if there's an appeal process, there are interveners, so if there's appeal process, you know,
Got it.
it may be long.
Right. And the Hartford site? Is there anything?
You know, there's been no decision from the judge, no.
Vessel is still.
Although I will say this, cause I think I don't know if it's public or not, but since there were 9 staff members sitting around, we had a preliminary meeting with Silverman last week. And they were showing us an 830G application with 655 units on the same site.
As opposed to, what was it before?
We're down to 440 or something like that.
It was like 538 or something,
Yeah, and then it came down
somewhere
like
in
that.
there.
Yeah,
It's jumped around.
So now they're at
It has.
655.
With an 830G, okay.
Yeah.
as an 830G, so 30% of that would be affordable units.
Have you seen, I don't know what it's called now, but Cambridge Crossing, so the new developer,
Yes.
any progress there?
Well, thank you, Jackie, that's good, that was on my list of so there is a new developer at Cambridge Crossing, they're calling it something, Cooper Hill Estates or
Yeah, change.
something like that. You know, we had some initial meetings with them in November and in early December. There, you know, of course, you all know there's a long list of kind of outstanding issues. There's paving that needs to be done, there's grading that needs to be done, there's
Landscaping.
landscaping,
I know.
and there's a million, the stormwater systems haven't been fully. So the developer's aware of that, they know all that, again, they wanted it as part of a foreclosure agreement in an auction essentially. But we have given them that list, I have invited them to come to you guys, I think, and give a presentation about what their plans are, and I'm concerned that there may be a number of changes they may want to make to the site, which I think is fine, but I've told them that it's gonna require zoning commission approval. That was a fairly comprehensive application, there's special exceptions, it's a site plan application, so if they have changes, unless they're really de minimis, I'll approve them, but by and large, they wanna change like some of the locations of where the affordable units are, for instance. Well, I can't do that. They gotta come to you and have that conversation. So I'm hoping that they respond, staff, we think they're doing a bunch of work out there and doing some
We are.
redesign.
Yeah.
But I'd like to get them moving a little bit so that we have kind of a phasing plan and a sense of when all those items are gonna be resolved. Cause just so you know, we are not issuing building permits. We've allowed them to take over the permits that have already been issued. There are 8
Okay,
units under
that was my
construction,
question.
6 units under
Because
construction.
there are properties being
Yeah,
built.
so we are allowed that, I mean,
And sold.
those permits were issued to
Perfect.
Mr. Ferrigno.
Okay. So those 8 were existing.
They were, that's exactly right, yeah, I think it's 6, I thought they were just 6 under construction. But anyway, we're not issuing any other permits beyond that, and I've told the developer that, and I don't think he's thrilled with me, but we need to know when you're gonna have the stuff done that needs to be done, the infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
So,
big
I mean, I
time.
think we're positive, and I think this is a developer who, you know, is gonna make the commitment to do those things, we just gotta get them
Be a
right.
nice product and.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there may be some architectural changes that they suggested, that elevations might be different, well, the elevations were attached to the original plan, so you ought to see those as well.
And Shannon asked about Vessel again.
Vessel is still status quo.
That's correct, there's been some articles about them in the Current and some other places, so those articles are accurate in our, well, I don't know about the decision of West Hartford, but in terms of describing the outstanding building code issues, those are fairly accurate. And we're dealing with it on our own.
Okay, any other questions for George? No, okay.
Thank you so much.
Get a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second. Motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, the meeting is adjourned at 8:09 p.m.
Thank you, Tony.
For over 40 years, SCM has been the voice of our town.
bringing us together through local programming,
Education and live broadcasts.
SEM isn't just about television.
It's about empowering our community.
Ensuring our voices are heard during government meetings.
And celebrating milestones.
like our high school graduations.
But today, SEM faces a challenge.
Our funding structure is based on television subscriptions. And it's no secret, people have been cutting the cord.
With a shift to internet-only subscriptions,
SCM receives less revenue.
Even though all our programming is freely available online.
We need your support.
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 Your donation can make a difference.
It will ensure that SCM remains open.
Continues to educate our youth and keeps our community informed.
Thanks to SCM, I've been honing my creative skills, helping me work towards my college degree.
SCM is crucial for keeping our community connected.
SCM isn't just here to broadcast local events. They're actually preserving Simsbury's history.
Join us in preserving Simsbury's voice.
Simsbury's voice.
Together we can ensure that SCM continues to thrive
For generations to come.
Visit our website
Or scan the QR code on your screen to make your donation.
Every contribution
counts.
Thank you for supporting Simsbury Community Media.
where your town
schools
And your government come together.